let's call the meeting to order. Zach, do you want to do a roll call? Sure.
Dr. Bumberg,
I'm here.
Dr. Broderick,
Here.
Dr. Daly,
Here.
Dr. Durso,
Here.
Dr. Curran, Dr. George, Dr. Gerling,
Yep, I'm here.
Dr. Katz, Dr. Laporte,
I'm here.
Dr. Mulvey,
Here.
Dr. Pond,
And it's Katz. I'm here. Sorry, Mike was slow.
Dr. Pond's here.
okay, got both of you, and Dr. Williams.
Yep.
And Patty Bashad's not here. Tammy Tromley. I think I saw her on. Okay.
Okay. And we were sent out the past minutes, and had a chance to read them. May I have a motion to approve the past minutes from February 24th?
I'll make a motion.
Excellent.
No second.
And a second. Great. Any discussion? Any opposed? Right,
I'm online.
excellent. Are you guys able to hear me okay, or do I need to speak up a little bit?
I can hear pretty good.
Can hear you well.
Good. Awesome. I can't, like, when we have the agenda up on the screen, I can't see your faces, and so I don't have that visual feedback, so just let me know.
As long as they can still see the agenda, we just can't see it.
CMAC, I did not go to CMAC this time around. I was away on vacation, but I have a little CMAC spy who is able to tell me that the only major event from the CMAC this time around was the supraglottic airway module that was approved for BLS at the last CMAC, was also approved for pediatrics for BLS. So an iGel or an iGel equivalent is approved for BLS providers to use if equipped and trained. I believe that's going to go in July, but I'll confirm for you. It'll either be in this July or in January, but we're trying to cycle for July. So I will confirm and I'll let you know about that. And it'll be an if equipped and trained module. Now, the thing that's going to come to us as a REMAC because of this is that we are going to have to approve devices. So the iGel was used for the pilot, and I don't believe that we have to reapprove the iGel because, again, that was the pilot project device. But if one of our agencies wants to use something other than the iGel that's roughly equivalent, then that's something that we have to approve as a REMAC. So that may be coming before us at some point. I really like the iGel. I don't know how much experience you guys have had with the iGel. But I think that putting that in as the initial device, given that we have some data behind it, is pretty safe. And that's really all that I heard that was new from the CMAC.
There was one additional thing, and it regards agency medical director credentialing. So ALS EMS agencies must have an online medical control physician as their agency medical director. The nice thing about that is the region sets those requirements. So your body would be the ones who would determine what it would be to be an online medical control physician. But they have to be sorry, I'm reading my notes real quick. Only needs to be approved by the region, and they do not need to be a practicing ED physician.
But to be online medical control, of course, you have to be a practicing.
ED physician.
Yep.
Yeah, don't ya?
Well, the only way you're gonna be online.
I mean, unless, Mike, like, do your agencies ever call you on the phone for online orders? I suppose they could.
Yeah, it's very rare, but that, I mean, it's gotta be, you gotta be online in the facility and, preferably it's a facility that the ambulance is going to. We've been through this. That's the only way you can do this.
Does that mean we have to kick you out?
That's fine. There's other people, but, I think the system works because you're gonna call an online, you can get your orders from an online ED. I mean, we've got PAs, we've got NPs taking these calls. In fact, in Saranac, maybe Dr. Laporte can tell us, I don't, is there a physician on 24/7?
Actually, not automatically. Do you have to be a kind of PA to it?
So, that's something that REMAC is supposed to be training and having a little online MD course. And you're not, I mean, technically, when I was chairman of REMAC, you weren't online to do online stuff unless you'd gone through the little course.
So I do credential the ED providers at AMC every year, along with the ones at CVPH and Alice Hyde, and Dr. Mulvey does the ones at Elizabethtown. I don't know what you guys are doing farther south as far as credentialing people to be online medical control. The question at hand here, though, I think is not so much that, and we probably should discuss that at some point just to make sure that we're all doing something. But the question more at hand is, mean that, like, Dr. Pond can't be an agency medical director anymore because he's not an online medical control physician?
That's never
Is that
been
what they're implying?
That's never been the rule in the past. But if that's the case, then that's the case.
They
Well,
were
I'm
very
asking, not
big on
telling.
driving home the not practicing in an ED portion of it when they were having the discussion. So I really think it would be up to to this body to what they would choose to do.
Jonathan, is there minutes for that? Have they been published yet?
The minutes haven't been published, but as soon as
Okay.
they are, I can send them out to
Okay,
everybody.
yeah, let's do that just to try to understand the nuances of the conversation.
I'll give Dr. Daly a call. Dr. Michael Daly, not Dr. Maddie Daly. Who it's the REMO chair, and he was at the CMAC. He's my general little CMAC spy, so I'll see what he has to say about it as well, and we'll review the minutes. Because I'm a little vague on what does that mean? Does that mean that Dr. Broderick and Dr. Pond can't be medical directors anymore? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but
I think we should probably move on till it gets clarified.
agree.
Also,
anything
the
else from
CMAC is going to
sorry.
put out an advisory statement, just reiterating that med control is for all levels of providers. There seems to be some hesitation from BLS providers to call med control for guidance on things, especially when it is a situation that is above their level of care on what they should do. So CMAC is going to put out an advisory statement just reassuring BLS providers that they need to be reaching out to med control and getting guidance in the event that they can't get ALS or something along those lines.
Anything from SEMSCO, John?
Not really that applies to this group.
Okay, excellent. I thank you for your discretion. I didn't see anything from anybody from DOH. Do you see anybody on from DOH, Zach?
I think Alex was.
Oh, there you
Alex
are.
is here.
Hey, Alex, do you have a report for us from DOH?
Hi, everyone. Sorry,
And he's on too. Perfect.
I jumped on late. Alex is in the car, so I'll bear the brunt on this one.
Oh,
First,
that's great. Vinny, just keep it pertinent to the docs only, and then we can do the SEMSCO part later, right?
yeah. So we don't really have much going on. First off, happy EMS week, everyone. Thank you for all that you guys are doing, especially, your agencies, your providers, and the medical directors. Just kind of throwing it out for the docs because they have a big stake in this. With anything controlled substance related, it does need some approval before it is implemented. Just throwing out a couple things. So changing medical directors, moving the agency, anything like that. We have a MOLS update. There was an update a couple weeks ago, but there is another one coming out on June 2nd. There'll be a new Dear Administrator letter pertaining to the respiratory sections. We are aligning policy 2312 and the trainings for that one. Really, as far as the doc's concerned, the only other thing we have is the EMS memorial is tomorrow at 11 o'clock, Empire State Plaza, if anybody was interested. But that's really all we have for the REMAC.
Okay, thank you. Program agency report.
Yes, again, not a whole lot from us that is super doc pertinent. We'll send out a summary of the CQI initiative that we've been doing to everybody. Again, thank you to the docs. It's really great to have great engagement from you guys when we do come across an issue with somebody's charts from your agencies. Everybody has been very good at taking it to task and trying to correct and re-educate, which is really wonderful. The biggest problem that we're seeing, honestly, is BLS providers are documenting things outside their scope of care. So when an ALS provider gets in the back of the ambulance, they should be ending their documentation with assisted as needed and moving, and now the patient care takes over with the ALS provider. They are very often documenting the skills that the ALS provider is doing. They're not trained to know what those skills are or how to properly document them. So if the chart ever gets called into court, it's going to be a giant, well, he said this and the other provider said this, and it's just going to make things even more of a mess than they need to be. So if you would share that with your agencies, that'd be fantastic. And that's really all I have pertinent for this body other than the ALS renewals.
Okay, let's do those. Do you mind just continuing to lead that, John?
Sure.
Great.
So we have current 2-year renewals from Cambridge Valley Rescue Squad with Dr. Broderick, Fort Anne Rescue Squad with Dr. Williams, North Warren Emergency with Dr. Katz, Ellenberg Depot Fire with Dr. Durso, Dannemora Fire Department with Dr. Durso, and St. Regis Falls Ambulance for Dr. Laporte. Those are the 2-year renewals. And then we do have 2 new applications that we'll vote on after these 2 2-year renewals. Sorry, can't talk today.
And so I would recommend 2-year renewals for all of them. Dannemora, Dr. Durso, you're on. We didn't have their medical director form, but I don't know if you want to speak to them. And then Dr. Laporte too, we also didn't have their medical director form for St. Regis Falls. But since you're both on, normally we would just do a 3-month renewal if we don't have everything, or that. Normally the medical director form is the forwarded motion for the 2-year renewal. But you guys are both on, so I don't know if you want to have the opportunities.
Yeah,
Why
sorry,
don't-
I thought everything was in from my end. And yeah, I'm here, so if I can like verbally just say that I would approve for renewals, then I can check that they actually sent a form in, or that I can send a form in.
Why don't we just approve?
I second.
Why don't we just approve them and let the program agency get the forms?
For Danamora, I agree. Dr. Laporte, what can you tell us about St. Regis Falls? What's going on there?
Not much. I just started.
Okay. So why don't we defer on St. Regis Falls if you don't really have your feet on the ground there for 3 months? Is that what we usually do?
Sure, yeah.
And we can take Danamora as we just required a form sort of deal. Okay.
Sounds good. So we just need a motion then if we could do that.
So
I'll
what we
make the
need is a motion.
That'd be a
to
second,
approve-
right? That'd be just because it's forwarded, or are we talking about the 3-month extension? I'm sorry.
Minus the 3-month extension. Let's vote on that separately.
Okay.
So let's just do a motion in a second. I realize it's a forwarded motion for Cambridge, Fort Anne, North Warren, Ellenberg, and Danamora Fire.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
I'll
And I'll
second
second.
it.
For any discussion? Okay. Any opposed? Okay, and I'd like to hear a motion for a 3-month, what do we call that? Extension
Yeah, extension.
for St. Regis Ambulance to be reconsidered at our next REMAC meeting. Once Dr. Laporte gets more acquainted with them.
Yep, I'll make that motion.
Thank you. It's Dr.
I'll
Brunner,
I'll second it.
Dr. Blunt. Okay, and any discussion? And any opposed? Okay,
Has,
new
has,
application.
just one question in the Tri-Lakes, has Tupper Lake and Long Lake been picked up in the system now?
Dr. Laporte, what do you know about Tupper and Long Lake? Anything?
I covered them as well, and I signed the contract and I reviewed them.
Okay, great.
I'm on for Long Lake. We've signed all our paperwork, turned everything in. Had multiple meetings.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you both.
So we have
Right,
two new applications. We'll go with the second one first. Hague Volunteer Fire Department, they're Dr. Williams. They're requesting to upgrade to the AEMT level from a BLS level.
Dr. Williams, what can you tell us about that? Did we lose Tom?
Oh, he's here. I see him.
Oh, we saw him.
Hey, sorry, I'm trying to do something at home. Sorry. For our QA, we missed our last meeting.
No,
We had some
for,
conflict. Oh, what?
For Hague Volunteer Fire Department going to AEMT and Washington County
Oh.
going to paramedic. We just want to hear about those.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hague is bringing online some AEMTs. They're going through their training. I'm not sure. I haven't brought anybody online yet. So I'm working on that process. And then Cambridge or Washington County is staffing a ALS provider to cover holes in the coverage there. It's a much needed resource there. So they're currently in the process of doing that.
And Washington County is a new entity. It's
Correct.
MuniCon.
Anything else? What?
Washington County is a new entity?
Yes.
Was that? New service.
New service?
Sorry.
I have their MuniCon packet sitting on my desk right now and we need a letter of approval from this group for that to be sent in with it.
Okay. So it's, just for our education, who comprises this Washington County agency? Who were they before?
Washington County, it never existed before. It's a Washington County Department of Public Safety, it's county government itself.
Okay,
We applied for and received a grant from the state to start a gap coverage service. So part of it is going to be an ALS first response, like our system, and part of it is going to be contracting in county agencies to fill gaps.
okay. Got it. Were you guys able to hear that?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
And
So
being,
we're not
being it's
dissolving
county,
anyone. This is more of
yeah,
a.
and being it's county, there's no,
Understood. All right, so that we've got a bit of the cart before the horse, but I think that's probably okay. We're upgrading an agency and paramedic that we haven't approved the agency yet, but.
Because we can't apply for our controlled substances without having this approved here
Oh,
first.
well, that
That's why we
makes
have to do it.
Yeah, great. Okay. Seems like everybody's doing the right things. Awesome. We're at least trying. That's all we can do. Okay. May I have a motion to approve
Sorry.
both of those?
Normally, we do like a 1-year provisional
Good.
approval for them, for
Thank
new
you, Zach.
agencies.
Keep me under control. I'll approve them for 5 years. We'll be in trouble. Okay,
Less meetings that way, right?
so, may we entertain a motion to approve Washington County and Hague for upgrades to paramedic and AEMT respectively for 1 year?
Yep, I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Doug.
I can second it.
in one question I have, I just trying to remember, and maybe it doesn't apply to ALS, but was there any certificate of need process? I know there wouldn't be with a county process because I think that supersedes any CON process. I'm just kind of curious
Yep.
how it fits in with everything.
So they have their CON application in, but because it's a municipal CON, they can go for 2 years before they actually have to do any action with it, before the council will have to vote on it or anything like that.
All right, thanks, Zach. And is that's not applicable to Hague though?
Correct. Hague,
Correct.
they're just an ALS upgrade. So they already have a con
It's just
and all of
they're
that.
requesting an AEMT, so it's really
Yep.
no CON process. It's just an upgrade.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Right,
got it.
they're an
Thanks.
existing agency, they're an existing BLS agency that we've known forever. That has some dispatched and route time issues, just saying. But they're pretty rural. Okay. Sorry, that was discussion and any opposed to those upgrades? Okay, hearing none. Let's move on to QA/QI. Do I see a Scott Harwood? I don't.
Yep, Scott's on.
Ah, beautiful. You must be on the next screen. My apologies.
Yeah, no worries. So we are working to organize meetings paired with our EMS council meetings to do a county, or at least the northern part of Franklin County QI, and we hope to have that running by fall is our goal at this point.
Great. Okay. Clinton County.
So we reorganized and brought our UI meeting before our advisory meeting to kind of consolidate meeting times for people. We have 2 projects that we're going to work on. One is our cardiac arrest events, which we've started to get some information on, and then and we're looking at survival rates is really what we're kind of looking at. So we're going to submit cardiac arrests, and then we're going to do some research to see if the patient, if they got transported, actually survived to leave the hospital. And then the other one we're going to do is time on the phone to first set of vital signs.
Great.
Which we're going to try and do, and that's going to require me to do some field work. So I'm going to have to go visit them. After we fun. Okay. I'll let you know next week.
Okay.
How much fun.
No, that sounds great. And maybe that's something that Scott can pursue in Northern Franklin County once they get going on again as well. ECH.
Hey there. QI is going great. We're looking at appropriate destinations and time from patient contact to first set of vitals, but everything's going well so far.
Awesome. Anything to tell us about appropriate destination choices so far? Is there anything that you're learning from looking at that?
I think there's a lot of regional nuance. Mike Pond recently was at a very helpful, I heard a lot of positive feedback, QA session for us. But there's a lot of local nuance to appropriate destination, and we're trying to sort of incorporate that along with sort of everyone has the best interest of the patient in mind. So just using examples to sort of create a sort of logical back and forth flow about appropriate destination, if that makes sense.
Do you have any interesting cases that you would want to bring forward to this group that might be fun for us all to talk about, because we all have this problem, right, of choosing the correct destination within our region, and we all have some really limitations to some of our facilities. So I would encourage all of us coming forward, if you have an interesting case that might be of benefit for learning to this body, bring them forward, and it would be nice to have us do an interesting case per meeting. Not a million of them, but 1 or 2 would be great. Okay.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you. Glens Falls.
Yeah, like I was beginning to say earlier, we missed our last meeting, but no major issues thus far.
Okay. And North Country, Ben?
Yeah, we continue to meet at least quarterly, if not more often, and yeah, no issues.
Excellent. And AMC, Dr. Laporte, what's going on there with QA/QI? I've heard that you've made some pretty big advances there.
We had our first meeting, and we're establishing the basis for the QA and the QA projects in the future. Sorry, I'm at home.
No worries. And is that going to be a group for all of your agencies? I heard, or I saw some QA/QI forums from Saranac Lake, but I wasn't sure. Is that going to incorporate St. Regis Falls and Long Lake and all of, and Tupper as well? Or are you just doing Saranac Lake, or how is that working?
I've not made those plans yet, but that's a good idea.
Okay. That is really the requirement, is that it becomes a regional QA/QI, so that, I mean, you can do it agency per agency, but it's a stretch of resources, right? It's much more efficient to do it as an agency, a group of agencies, which is what everybody else is doing. And that's why they're doing it, because that way you can share your RN and your MD and your link with your local hospital. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I'm trying to get the local hospital involved a little bit more in the QA process. It's work in progress. I'll update you in person.
Okay. Super.
I will say there was multiple of his agencies on the call, so there is a work towards the multiple agency aspect for sure.
Awesome. I was curious because the forms that I saw were just for Saranac Lake, so I was wondering how it worked as a
Yeah, I think they helped spearhead it, so I think that's probably something. But they are trying to. Anthony's on the call too, so yeah, there was definitely a collaborative effort towards it. So I think for their second meeting, they're still planning to continue that, and I think try to get some more agencies. So it is a work in progress. But
great. Sounds good. Anthony, anything you have to pipe in there since we have you?
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. We're all going to be doing QA. It's like you said, it was the first meeting, so we were trying to establish rules and procedures and get all the administrative stuff out of the way. And we haven't figured out if we're gonna be doing an actual, I saw their form, some of their forms. And some agencies were going back and forth as to how many calls or percentage, and so I'm looking forward to us, for the next meeting, us having a little bit more of a standard. I know that this went by the wayside for a number of years, so I know, I've been working with Saranac closely, and we're trying to move things along, but we also got to go at a slower pace so we don't chase anybody off.
Yeah, agreed. We're excited to have you guys up and running.
I don't think there can be any chasing anybody off. They cannot not be doing this. It's not an option. This is now going on 7 years. These agencies haven't had QA. So it is this body's responsibility to make sure that's happening, and they should all be in it already.
And it is. So that's pretty great. Good stuff happening. We're excited for you. All right. Did I see Colleen? I thought I did.
Was earlier.
She's here, I thought. Maybe not.
Maybe not. That's all right. Maddie, anything from UVM HealthNet as far as air medical reports that's pertinent to this body?
Nothing from Air Medical. Danielle is on here as well. I don't know if she has anything specific.
No.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's plow on then. Dakota is here, right here. Any updates on IFT?
So, excuse me, Muru has integrated it. They told me it should be live. However, when I looked, it's not. So I'm waiting for an email back. The collaborative protocol app, I still have no response from. When I looked at that, I don't think it's even been updated in a while.
It hasn't. I think that's going to be a funding stall until.
Yeah.
Otherwise
But Muru is, I have the, what do you call it? The play around version of it. And it looks great with all the updates that I sent you. Should be out any second. So
Great. I met with the Muru rep at the, not this snack because I wasn't there, but the one before. We sat down and got to talk a little bit. We were able to buff it up. So
cool.
That was great. Awesome. Thank you.
I can speak to the collaborative protocol app, as Dr. Bombard just alluded to. That kind of is at a funding standstill right now. So that's typically funded through the program agencies. The program agencies are now going on month 11 of no contract. We have received our award letters, but we're still looking at least 180 days before we can get any money recouped from last year. And we're looking at, on FDRHPO alone, just fronting the program agency and keeping us running, probably at this point a little over 300,000. So we are picking and choosing what we are spending money on, which is why I did not travel over from Watertown today, and Zach is there in person, and I am remote. Hopefully the next meeting I will be in person.
Thank you. I have one IFT update just to let you guys think about. Doug George and I are going to collaborate on trying to make an addition for N-acetylcysteine to present to you guys relatively soon. And we're just going to try and make it as close as possible between the HealthNet guideline and the our regional IFT guidelines, just so it makes it a little easier for everyone involved. So we will have that to submit to you for consideration in the near future. If anybody else is running into other medications that you want to add to the IFT guidelines, please submit those to me and we will work on those. And new business. So we have chair election, which means I get to leave for a few minutes while you guys discuss. I nominated Dr. Williams, who then promptly called me, and we had quite a long telephone conversation about this. ideally, what I'd like for you guys to discuss is whether we could do a co-chair configuration, unless somebody else completely wants the chair other than Tom and myself. My life would be much easier, and I think honestly the region would be better guided by co-chairs, one being down in the Warren, Washington County area and one being up here. And I think leadership by a collaborative effort between the two of us would work very well. I would be very happy to do that with Dr. He would be amenable to doing that, he tells me. Or if you guys want to come up with something else, then that's fine as well. But I'm going to leave and let you guys discuss, and I'll come back when somebody yells at me.
Sure, we can do that. We can get to it.
Tom, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here.
I think co-chair is a possibility, but extremely, there's a reason we don't have two presidents of the United States. It makes things, I think, going to be more difficult unless it's extremely well defined who's in charge of what. We have gone on now for years without things getting done, and I really think that we have to be much more succinct in how we operate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I understand that. I mean, when it comes down to it, I don't have the capability to take it on by myself. So I'm not gonna do it on my own. But you know, I'm certainly happy to help Tiff take some of the load off because it is a lot. So I'm happy to help and kind of do that. And you're right, you know, it's going to take a lot of coordination from Tiff and I. So that's something that, you know, we're going to have to work on. But you know, like she said, unless somebody else wants to take it, you know, right now I don't have the bandwidth, and it sounds like nor does she. So this is kind of what we're left with.
How about a counter proposal with a chairperson and an assistant chairperson, with you being the chairperson and she being the assistant chairperson? Therefore, therefore you can delegate.
I don't know. Again, you know, right now I don't have a ton of time. So, you know, we can see how this co-chair works for now, and kind of reassess at a later point. But, you know, I'm not looking to take on a lot of responsibility right now in addition to what I've got on my plate already.
You could always make it for like a 6-month trial period too. I mean, you can word that into your motion if that is a amendable compromise.
One thing we could consider, John Broderick sort of brought up the idea, I don't know if he's still on, but what if we divided it into a northern and southern region? So we have a chair of the northern region, which would be Tiff, and chair of the southern region, which could be Tom. That could be one way of dividing it up practically.
Yeah.
I don't think that works.
I think that's kind of how it would have defaulted to. So, yeah.
You know, I like the idea of a trial period. I think that makes sense. We can see how it's going. At that time, there may be other people who may be interested in throwing their name into the ring. I don't know if there were, you know, I'm not aware of any others who may be interested. So I guess now's the time to speak up if there's anybody else who's interested. But otherwise, yeah, you know, a 6-month trial in this format would be quite useful.
Yeah, that works for me. I don't know if anybody else has any questions or concerns or input.
I mean, I think the elephant in the corner is It's a job that no one is rushing to take. So we can beat around the bush quite a bit, but if no one else is willing to do it, and this is the only way we have the job filled, I don't know that there's much discussion to be had.
Yeah, I'd agree, Ben. I think practically, and I do like the idea of a 6-month trial. Let's have at least one, perhaps 2 meetings, see how it's going. And as Doug said, perhaps, as others cycle in, I think there's some others that are joining more recently. Let's see if there's any interest in that as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, the good plan that we have is better than the perfect plan that we don't have.
So can I speak from the perspective of the rest of the group who doesn't really sit on the REMAC committee, but actually is part of it? So I think that this is a great idea. I think that people feel stressed when they get overwhelmed, when they have way too much to do. And if this works best for the two of them, and they're the two people who are willing to take on this, I think that giving them a 6-month to a year trial makes perfect sense. And then we can reevaluate down the road, but nobody else seems to want it, and they're willing to take it on. So I say, let's give them the shot and let them do it, because we truly need this group to function and function reasonably well.
And do we make the motion with Tiff gone, or do we pull her back and then begin the process?
I think we pull her back and make her a part of the process.
I think that makes sense.
Provided, is there any other discussion that people want to bring forward without either Tiff or Tom present? Just so we can, if there's anything anybody wants to air. If not,
Yeah,
then I agree, we'll bring Tiff back.
I would like to have that time.
All right, I'll sign off, and Doug, will you just text me when you're back on?
Okay, will do.
Thanks.
I fully understand that if nobody's going to take this, then we're kind of stuck. I think that's really sad by some of the other members that have been on this committee for a long time and not taking it. I did this for 14 years. John, how long did you do this for?
I don't know, shy of 10, not 14, probably 8, 7, something like that.
Yeah, my point, and here is my issue. We haven't done what we're supposed to do as a committee for the past 10 years. And that, to me, is a huge issue. I brought this up over and over. Basically, we are responsible as a public entity for certain things that we don't accomplish. And I really think that that's important to do. This is now going to be a north-south piece, and we will be left with lots of issues not getting settled the same way moving forward, in my mind. So, that I really think we need one person, and if we need two, then one should be in charge and one should be the assistant, or we need it completely defined on who's doing what, because what's really not happening here is going after agencies who have been without quality assurance for 10 years, going out after hospitals who have not done this for 10 years. That is what we're supposed to do. And the program coordinator should be really part of that as well. And the chairman can delegate anything and everything. So the job doesn't have to be a huge piece of work. I never found it that my life was affected by it. Maybe I didn't do a very good job, but John, I mean, did you find this running Chairman REMAC to be an overwhelming part of your work?
No, I mean, I had good coordinators, right? So I think that helps. Jody Winch when he was here, Bruce Berry. So I think that helps immensely. And, to your point, like there is a regulatory language, but at the same time, we know this group doesn't have any teeth, so it's relationships primarily, and talking and speaking to people. So I think if we do the north-south, which I like, we just have to define what agencies are within that. And so therefore, Tiffin in north and Williams in the south would have defined ones to speak to and to be able to address. And again, I think a 6 months that we can in the next meeting or the following one, how's it going, and see if there's anything else would be helpful. But that might also help with the relationship building and sometimes, asking, pleading, cajoling, because ultimately in the end, you have no power, to be perfectly honest with you.
Oh, I disagree with that. Ultimately, we do have power. The state of New York has the power to deal with it. We have the power to take agencies ALS away, take directors off that aren't doing their job, that don't show up. Those are the things that I'm talking about haven't gotten done.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever gotten done, Mike. I've never seen it happen. I remember on CMAC where the whole Long Island group didn't do prescribed substances for forever, and just basically were like, nah, do something about it. And politically, there's nothing to do in New York State with the whole, Long Island dealing with it. So it's regulatory defined, but it's still ultimately politics, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I said my piece, so. I mean, we literally have gone on 10 years without the Tri-Lakes having direction from their online hospital.
All right, so are we good? It sounds like we're good with the co-chair, north, south, and then we could just determine what those boundaries are. And so then there is accountability for that, and it's not gray. And that line could, there's no official line, but we can figure what that out is, or the coordinator along with both of them, because perhaps there's existing relationships already.
I don't think it should be north-south. I think there should be defined jobs if they're going to split it up. And we should represent the entire region, not north-south.
If we do it north-south, I feel like it would just duplicate the work for them. I don't know if it would actually make it easier for them, unless they would find it easier. But I feel like that would just, separate the work, but they would still have to do the same thing.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be less or half?
There's a lot of issues that aren't just north-south.
There's also a lot of issues that are north-south, and I think that's one of the impediments, at least discussing with folks down at this end. And so I'm speaking from our southern perspective, but it's tough to know the specific nuances and all the details and relationships up of the northern region, and possibly that's why it's been ineffective for a while. Who knows? But certainly, people practicing down the south know the southern way things work a little bit and familiar with the hospitals and the agencies, and I think that makes it a lot more palatable to be able to at least control. Given that we don't have anybody who's jumping at it, if this is the way that Tom and Tiff feel that it will be manageable for them, I think we should support it. I don't think there's much point in recommending we do it a different way if it's not something they're going to be amenable to.
So somebody make the motion. Let's go.
Do you want me to bring Dr. Bombard back in and Dr. Grilling? Do you want to let Dr. Williams in and then we could do a motion, or how do you guys want to do it?
Yeah, I can make the
that
motion
makes sense.
once they enter.
Yep. And give them a final if they have anything to question or say.
All right, I'm back on.
Is Tiff back in the room?
I'm back.
Okay. So what we discussed in your absence in our executive session was a number of options, but the motion is going to be co-chairs, as you had suggested, with you in the north and Dr. Williams in the south. And I think what needs to be resolved is where is that line of demarcation? Where do we determine that? I think that just needs to be done, and then we can probably have that via email of what that'll look like, and try to equalize the work to the degree possible. And I think relationships are important as well. But that's the motion, is to have you both as co-chair for 6 months, separating it or segmenting it into north and south.
Okay, and the 6 months is we'll revisit and see 6 months and see if we're succeeding or failing. Is that the plan?
Yep,
That
exactly.
seems great.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Do I call for a vote?
I think you call for a second. That was what we discussed and brought forward as a motion.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
This is my first time leaving a room for something, so I'm learning. Okay, please second. And that was Doug? Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Maybe raise your hands so that Zach can count. Is there anybody on the second screen? Or did we lose Fred? Fred must have stepped off. I know he had his kids.
So the only one I did see is Dr. Pond.
Yeah, I'm
Dr. Pond
voting.
had the-
I'm going to vote against it. I do not think we should have two chair people, and I do not think we should divide it north and south. So I'm a vote against it.
Any other opposed? If you guys with the approvals would take your hands back down for us. All right, and any abstentions? All right, motion passes. So we'll revisit in 6 months, and if Zach, you make sure that gets on our agenda. So
Yes,
it doesn't
thank
slip
you.
my little demented mind. What did slip my little demented mind, however, is we did not do education course sponsor reports. And then we'll do public comments and be done. So course sponsor, Mountain Lakes, that would be Scott, I think.
The education committee hasn't met in a while for Mountain Lake, so no update.
Okay, fast. Clinton County Storm.
We are doing a summer EMT course from June. It's 8 until the first part of August. So it'll be quick. And it's the summer course that we've done for the last 2 years. And then we are moving to CVPH as our new home from Clinton. So during August, we will make the move so that we can start courses in the fall. We will be running a basic, original and refresher, and then an AAMT.
Wow. Where physically are you going to be at CVPH?
We are going to be in the medical office building in the old OB office.
Okay.
On the 3rd floor.
And Scott, are you or Kirsten running a AEMT or a BLS course this summer?
We have a full EMT basic course running in Malone with 36. We just started last week. So we had to close that class because of capacity, but we're seeing pretty steady demand, which is a bit surprising.
That's great. Okay, and we are lucky enough to have Josh Leduc here today with us. Yay, from ECH. Josh, can you give us a quick update on the paramedic course, the one that's closing and the one that's ongoing?
Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, everyone. So currently the program is about to graduate, just graduated 20 between us in Vermont. We've got a couple students who are still finishing up capstone requirements, and this should round us out to a nice solid 26 in total completing the program. Current enrollment year for 25-26 is between Vermont and New York. We have another 28 currently in the cycle, and they are on time for, they are scheduled for an on-time graduation of May of 26.
Awesome. Thank you. And do we have somebody from Queensbury EMS? No. Okay. All right. Any other new business or public comments?
So Tiffany, I don't know if you want to know about the bridge program.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
The bridge program is graduating 3 more students. This month they do their lab and their final practical. And then they will be ready to test. And then I think there are either 3 or 4 in the next group. And there are only 22 more classes.
Wow.
So our goal would be to capture the rest of those people who are critical care and see what we can do to help them get through this process if you're interested in continuing at this point. Since we have 2 more classes to go, it would be helpful to get them started. I'd like to start them in this next class, the one in 26, because I think that will give them that option that if they need to have a break, that they can fall into the next bridge class and not lose momentum. Because they're allowed to do that. So I think that if we can, and Zach can send me a list of all the critical cares that are left in the region, so we can send them a note. And see what we can do to assist them in getting between the other EMS coordinators, if we can encourage them to start the process if they're wanting to do that.
Great.
And not to be afraid of it.
Yeah, thank you so much for the program. Storm has done bridge work with yeah, but everyone across our enormous region, like from the south all the way through to the west. Storm has been sort of a backbone of this program in bridging critical cares to paramedic all over the place. So we really owe you for that. Thank you so much, Storm. And if you would just remind me, I will put something out encouraging people to contact you for the next couple of years worth of bridge too. That would be wonderful. Okay. All right. Anything else in new business or public comments? All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second.
Yep, I'll second.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug. Thank you, everyone.
All right, take
Thank
care.
you.
everyone.
Have a great day.
Thanks all.